within this year, but the United States and the Security Council kept mum about it, as we expected. The international community is taking note.
Okay, you're listening to Kim In-rong. He's the North Korean Deputy Ambassador. He's talking at the UN in New York. Extremely aggressive language, and I just want to bring in Foreign Affairs writer Tim Marshall. Tim, what did you make of what he was saying? Gangster-like behavior, unjust and unproportionate. US is disturbing global peace. What did you make of it?
It's nothing you wouldn't see on the 10 o'clock news on DPRK television. DPRK being the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, to give it its official name, because he can't say North Korea because that would accept the division of the two Koreas. So they say their official name, DPRK. No, there was nothing in there, I thought, of a headline other than the word gangster. But right at the end, I was figuring out why this bashing of the UN, and I think
a little short of the application of the double standards can never be tolerated. It is very clear the briefing, which is planned by the United States in a connivance of the UN Security Council, is in its purpose of impurity. It is nothing but to justify the anti-DPRK, the aggressive war clamor, and to inspire an environment for sanction against the DPRK by taking issues of whether self-defense, nuclear deterrent of the DPRK to defend its national security and peace against endless U.S. aggressors and a provocative threat at all costs. Offering the state's measures for bolstering up its military capability to defend its independence and territorial integrity can never be subject to the criticism and interference by the world body under any circumstances. However, the United States has unhesitatingly used its double-dealing standard against those countries aspiring after independence against imperialism, with differing ideas and a social system, utterly disregarding the mission and role of international law and international organization in pursuance of world hegemony. Owing to the U.S. reckless move for bolstering up its nuclear force and modernizing them, instability and the danger of nuclear war are now escalating on Earth. And the nuclear weapon states are improving their strategic nuclear forces both in quality and quantity to cope with them. It is inevitable and entirely just for the DPRK to have had access to the nuclear deterrent for self-defense and bolstered up it, as it is always exposed to the direct nuclear threat of the United States. At a time when even those countries having vast territories and a big population and a huge economic potential are giving top priority to the measures for reinforcing their forces for state development and security. The road we've chosen for strengthening self-defense deterrent is the road for our existence and for safeguarding our future. The DPRK measures for bolstering up nuclear force are self-defense one to cope with the United States' vicious nuclear threat and blackmail. They reflect the determination of the Army and the people of DPRK to counter NAC and ICBM in kind. The DPRK has never recognized the unreasonable resolution adopted by the UN Security Council against it, with the U.S. double-dealing the standards. The fact the United States dispatch of the Carl Vinson, the nuclear carrier task group, to the water off the peninsula, the Korean peninsula, again, they clearly prove that United States' reckless move for invading the DPRK have reached the serious pace of the scenario. If the United States dared opt for the military actions, the crying out for preemptive attack and the removal of the headquarters, the DPRK is ready to react to any mode of war desired by the American. The prevailing grave situation proved once again DPRK was entirely just when it increased in every way its military capability for self-defense and a preemptive attack with a nuclear force at its pivot. The Trump administration is trying to do something of the DPRK by deploying one strategic strike means after another in South Korea, trumpeting about the peace by strength. But the DPRK remain unfazed, undaunted. We never beg for the feast, and we will take the toughest counteraction against the provocateur in order to defend ourselves by powerful force of arms and keep the road chosen by ourselves. We will hold the United States wholly accountable for the catastrophic consequences to be tailed by its outrageous actions. As long as the U.S. and our vessel forces the schemes to bring down the socialist system in the DPRK, it will further increase in the military muscle and protect the peace and security of the country by its own efforts and invariably pursue its line in the future too. In conclusion, I hope the distinguished journalists at the present here will pay due attention to the nuclear issue on Korean Peninsula with a correct understanding and the views on its origination and the root cause for aggravating tension on the Korean Peninsula. Thank you.
All right, now we'll take questions from the floor. Please remind of briefly introducing yourself before question. Okay, yeah.
Hi,
Yes,
my
ma'am.
name is Shauna McGee from Kyoto News, and on behalf of the UN Correspondents Association, we always appreciate these briefings and the opportunity to speak with you.
All right, so we were
I
just
had
listening
a
to
quick
the ambassador to the UN from North Korea, and he essentially accused the U.S. of being provocative, saying that the U.S. is hell-bent on saber-rattling and holding aggressive exercises, that the UN is bending to the will of the U.S., and that what North Korea has been attempting to do is protect itself, and its measures of self-defense are being called provocations. He said that the U.S. is truly the nuclear threat to North Korea, and that North Korea is ready to react to any movements that may look like war.